medium planks delivery to the bridge south of the village in Zherbai Quarries. Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of SnowRunner here at Opafed Gaming. I am the Opafed. Today we are driving a Tayga 6436. You're probably wondering why, and I will get into that in a second. Just want to let you know that we are in a bridge too far task. We are on the Zherbai Quarries map, which is part of the only map of the Almaty Region. Now when I first started playing, I guess both driving and playing in SnowRunner, I didn't have the Tayga. We had those GMC trucks and some of those other, well, not very good trucks, and I got stuck a lot and it was a little frustrating, and then all of a sudden one day I happened upon the Tayga 6436. I've seen a lot of videos about it, about the Tayga King of SnowRunner and so on and so forth. So I couldn't wait to get my hands on it, and lo and behold, when I got it, I just loved it. I used it for as many tasks as I could, and it was not fantastic. It was fantastic for the time, but it still lacked a few things. Like it doesn't carry any extra fuel. It's got a 330 liter tank, which when there's fuel is not an issue. Shouldn't really be an issue no matter where you run, but it's nice to have some extra, and it's also nice to have some extra repair points. So anyhow, we are at the warehouse just south of the garage. We're going to pick up a load of medium planks. We're going to drive it up the highway, the way we normally have been if you've been watching my videos. And we got a couple little detours to make, and then we're going to go all the way to the other side of the map through a little muddy mud pit area, and all the way to the other side where we're going to fix this bridge on the south side of the village. I believe it is one of the few last tasks left to do, which is always the best part of the progression of jobs to be done in SnowRunner. Do the task first and then wait for the contracts later. Try to get bridges fixed, landslides, rock slides cleared, and such of the things. Anyhow, back to the Tayga. I drove the Tayga in everything that I did, and it was a very capable truck, and I thought it was the best, and I really believed it was one of the best trucks around. Now, I had already acquired the Azov 64131, which was also a really good truck, but the tires are a little bit smaller, and it just, between those two trucks, the Azov and the Tayga, I did quite well. But slowly over time, you go through more seasons and more regions, and you come up against vehicles such as the Kenworth 963, the Dairy Special, the Plaid, the Chimera, the Fem 37 AT, or I believe that's the number for it. Anyhow, you come up against some of those other bigger trucks, and you start to think twice about the Tayga, and he kind of gets left in the dustbin. And mine's been retired for some time, but I thought, I know there's some maps coming up where you're going to need a little bit of a smaller truck, so I've been dusting off a few of the old trucks, even brought some new ones out like the Mac Defense, which I'll be showing in upcoming videos. And I'm just trying to get used to some of these here smaller, but yet still quite powerful trucks. As a matter of fact, I do believe that the Tayga, now I'm not sure, so don't quote me on this, but I do believe that the Tayga is probably the strongest truck that'll hold a low saddle. And in some jobs you need a low saddle, and then who you're going to call? The Tayga is who you're going to call, because he is very, very powerful. But he's a little flighty to run. He seems a little light on the tires. It's hard to steer. I guess I've been away from him for too long. So I'm just wanted to try and back out. And this is not much of a test for the Tayga. But then, I know what the Tayga can do. and I know where it's going to fall in the hierarchy of all the trucks in the fleet. It's not an Avonhorn, and it's not a Plaid or a Kenworth. It's going to fall below those. So is the Tayga still the king? Yeah, when you get him at the earlier stages of SnowRunner, he is definitely the king. And he stays the king for quite some time, but he does get overtaken by the other trucks. The Zigzee and the Mastodon are two other ones that are quite a bit better than the Tayga. But like I said, sometimes you need a smaller truck. Shorter frame, narrower stance with lots of power, and the Tayga is one of your best bets to get. You saw how it just went through that tiny little detour. Not a problem. Now we got another one coming up here, up ahead, and that's when we take the detour from the detour, because the road's washed out up ahead and there's a detour around it, but that's not a good one through the water and the mud. The Opafed knows he got stuck in there before, and I wasn't very happy down below there. So now we only take the detour from the detour, which is right here. And there again, you know, the Tayga, we do want to change the time forward so we can see where we're driving, because there is some rocks on the road here. He can't handle the really big boulders. The little ones he doesn't have too much trouble with. And the mud too. You know, if it's medium mud, not too much of a problem. Same thing with the snow. But once you get into the deeper stuff, he starts to labor a little bit more. You got to make sure that there's something that you can hook onto with your winch to help pull him through, or up a hill or whatever. So, but other than that, with the weapons that he's gotten in his arsenal, he is a very capable truck. He can do these kinds of jobs just as good as any other truck. You know, it's just a matter of how rough is the terrain going to get, and how heavy a load are you going to be carrying. You know, so that's my thoughts on it. I still like the Tayga, and we're going to keep him around, and we're going to use him every once in a while. You know, for jobs where you just need a dual cargo slot like this, for a medium set of planks. But I think the real heavy and hard jobs we're going to have to retire the Tayga from, and hand over to trucks like the Kenworth and the Plaid and the Avonhorn. You know, like the ones in Amur were really difficult. But that's okay, because you go back and forth, right? We're out of the snow now, and just to show you, this here mud pit was no problem for the other trucks, and I probably should have gone around it, but I wanted to see what the Tayga would do with it if he went through the middle. And I could have winched myself, but I just wanted to see how long it would take, and that's not bad. That's really not bad. It went pretty quick. So, is he still a capable truck? Yes, like I said, he's a very capable truck, but he is no longer the king. I'm afraid that the Tayga has to step down and give the throne over to the new trucks. But other than that, he performed admirably in this here job. Had no trouble whatsoever. We're almost at the bridge. When we get around the corner here, you'll be able to see him in the distance. We still got a couple of little twists and turns to go through. But other than that, if you just look, oh yeah, you can just see him over top of those little pines. You can see the little bridge. That's where we're going to drop off these medium planks. Awesome little task. It was a great job. It looked good, and the truck drove awesome. I hope you got some tips and some pointers out of it. You know, if you're just starting out in SnowRunner, see if you can get a hold of the Tayga. He'll help you along, and he'll help you get the better trucks, and he'll help you succeed in a lot of your jobs, your tasks, and your contracts. Anyhow, that's about it for today. We're going to sign off. We hope you enjoyed it, and hope to see you back here again real soon. Until then, you've been driving in a Tayga 6436, delivering a load of medium planks with me, the Opafed.